Hey, it's Monday, and you know what that means. It's IndyCar night on iRacing. Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gotzo, and welcome to Race First coverage of Round 5 of Season 222, the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split, coming to you from the Temple of Speed, Monza. Joining me for expert analysis in the booth, as always, is my sidekick, my pal, my number 2 on the broadcast from the HR eSports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series, is Stephen Larkamp. Stephen, aside from needing to prepare to run a road course this week, these drivers will probably be facing the most dangerous first turn in all of motorsports. Unlike F1 when they come here, we will have a rolling start. What can we expect when we reach the braking zone for turn 1, lap 1?
Well, turn 1 usually rarely discriminates between a rolling start or a standing start. Standing starts can be chaotic in their own right, of course, but turn 1 at Monza is quite an experience no matter what you're doing. The Variante di Rettifilio, as it's properly known. This chicane is infamous for causing massive pileups on lap 1. You can be a little bit opportunistic there as one of the best overtaking spots on the course, coming from a hard and going through a hard braking zone while you're approaching speeds of 190 miles an hour in these cars going onto the brakes into that chicane. And if you get one little bit of it wrong, trying to go side by side, as we've seen, not just many a time in iRacing, but in real life as well. You can even trace back to last year in the Italian Grand Prix here with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Things can definitely go very, very wrong very, very quickly. And of course, Monza, a lot of moves can be made here in a lot of the other corners here on this 3.6 mile Temple of Speed, as we love to call it. And it's going to be a place where not only is driving finesse a must-have for good pace, but you're also going to have to be aggressive, and a lot of defense is going to be played here, I would wager, tonight. Monza rarely disappoints, and let's hope that trend continues.
Well, we are going to have a full field tonight, and we're going to have a lot of names that we don't normally see. We have the usual suspects, but we're going to have a lot of names that we normally don't see. Right here on your screen, Michael Zatz, for instance, here in the 14 Marlboro Team Penske throwback. Normally we do not see him, but we do see some of these others that we will see here at the top of the charts. Pinero, Miranda, of course, we know we see them on a weekly basis. Matt Houston, the boss man, is here. Regan is here. Let's see, we've got Dakota DeMed is here. Joe Ritter is here. So a lot of the regular suspects, but a lot of names we have not seen here either at all or since we had our last road race. So we might see a different winner actually hit victory lane this time than normal.
Very much so, and I'm keeping an eye on a lot of the runners right now. Top time so far held by Adriano Pinero, 132 even. He is running on black tires, and I think he just had a little bit of a moment there coming out of that chicane. And that's another thing I'll mention also, is that the chicanes here are not just tricky on entry, they're tricky on exit as well. So this track, I think, it may look relatively simple on the outside, but I guarantee you the 11 corners here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, they throw up their own little troubles every time someone tries to do something a little bit crazy. So I definitely think, and looking at the top times right now, the field is going to be very, very tightly knit together. I see a lot of action happening tonight.
Currently watching Rodrigo Franzoni, one of the regulars there with the Bread King team. Got someone in chat, Beto Sousa there is shouting out the BK guys. Should point out that last week the Brazilians absolutely dominated last week's race. We actually said they swept the top 10. That was wrong. PDF actually, Pablo Diaz-Francis is from Spain. So he was the lone non-Brazilian in the top 10. So actually he was best in class. But the lead American was actually like 11. So we were joking with them all week long that they were kind of second or third in class as well. But yeah, the Brazilians all but dominated last week on the oval. And frankly, I would not be surprised if we see them dominate again here on the road course. Brazilians and road racing kind of go hand in hand like peas and carrots, as Forrest Gump would like to say.
And once again, I've just been proven wrong before I even said it. The top 3 at first were all Brazilians, Pinero, Miranda, and Cabral. But Jack Mara, the Australian, has now jumped to the top of the board with a 132.0 starting on red tires, it would seem.
Crikey.
So have ourselves a new pole sitter, definitely a first time for us, and pretty cool to see a driver from down under playing around at this time of night.
We got about a minute 45 left in qualifying. Franzoni just goes to the top of the sheets there with a 1:31.8, so he's 2/10 faster than Mara. Track record here, the race track record. This to kind of tell you how much Formula One technology has been kind of dialed back here. Rubens Barrichello and the Ferrari back in 2004 had a race lap of 1:21.046. That is a race record. The qual record here is Rubens Barrichello. Set in 2020 in his Mercedes there for a 1:18.8. No, excuse me, Lewis Hamilton. I said Ruben Barrichello again. Lewis Hamilton in 2020 in his Mercedes for a 1:18.887. Well, if you look at the times compared to the IndyCar speeds around here, that Formula One car had to be flying around this place.
Absolutely, and these cars are already fast enough as is. Where, as I mentioned before, down the front straightaway into the Rectifilio, you're touching around 190 miles an hour here. In a Formula One car, that's well over 220. That's just how, and you're also able to maintain a lot more grip here through the corners. Indy cars, of course, are heavier. They have less power. So by design, they are slower, of course, than Formula One. But that doesn't diminish the quality of the racing that we see here, of course. But that just goes to show how amazingly fast these F1 cars are. Monza, of course, is one of the fastest tracks on the Formula One calendar. I believe it still is. For a time, that was Silverstone before that track was reconfigured, and then Hockenheim before it was reconfigured or butchered, depending on who you talk to. But now Monza is one of the few tracks where drivers will average over 150 miles an hour a lap. It's not quite there here in the Indy cars, but it is still mighty impressive for a road course.
Well, stand by in the garage area. It's time to go racing. With that, it's time to look at tonight's starting lineup for Monza. But before we do, and if you enjoy Race First coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fixed Top Split and you respect the weekly stream, make sure you support us by smashing the like button below and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next race. We are interactive, so via the YouTube chat function there, shout out to your favorite driver or team, or let everyone know who was at fault for that crash. Now let's get into it at Monza with tonight's starting lineup.
On the pole, the 24 machine of Rodrigo Franzoni, the only driver in the 131s, a 131.8, and rather ominously, he put in that time on black. He put on that time on the harder compound tire. Alongside him, Jack Mara, the first time we've seen him on the Monday night. The Australian rolls off P2 in the number 1 machine, so he's the highest rated driver here tonight. Adriano Pinero, who's been on absolute tear so far this season, won 3 of the last 4, including last time out at Auto Club Speedway on the Monday night showings. He starts third alongside the number 3 of Bruno Miranda in P4. Cesar Cabral starts number 5 in the number 5 machine. Gonzalo Romero will be alongside him in the number 11. Matt Houston, the man behind Raceverse himself, will be starting 7th alongside Matthew Bell's number 15. Houston driving the number 4 this week. Joao Ritter starts 9th in the 17 machine alongside Emilio Fernandez Garado in the number 9 in P10. Pedro Gomez in the 8 machine starts 11th alongside the 7 of Kyle Boz. Julio Alvarez starts 13th in the number 10 alongside the 19 of Pedro Palladino. Ryan Flanagan's number 23 starts 15th. 16th will be the 14 of Michael Zeit. Kurt Barnett, number 20 machine, starts 17th alongside the 13 of Shane Abbey. Aldo Villamil starts his number 25 machine in 19th. Rounding out the top 20 here will be Dakota Walter in the number 18. Alexander Aziz in the number 21 starts 21st, the last driver to post a qualifying time, albeit just around 4 seconds off the pole sitting time. And among the drivers that didn't qualify, Alexandre Ragon in the number 6, Blake Sasser's number 12, Dakota DeMeg, who actually got a DQ in qualifying, starts in his 16th in the 24th spot, Kuba Zielinski in the 22, and Zachary Flom, shotgun on the field, in the 26 machine, starting P26.
Oh, field tonight, a full 26-car field. Couple things that we don't normally talk about. We'll be talking about this race, push pass. We don't have that on the ovals. We're probably looking at one pit stop about midway through, and that's all they'll need to do to get to the finish. We'll not have full course yellows. There are tire limits. If these guys need to stop for extra tires, there'll be 2 extra sets in the pits other than what they're starting on now. They need to switch tire compounds at some point. That is a new rule with the latest update here in iRacing. So a couple things a little bit different, but a lot of the same. It's IndyCar racing at its best, and it's IndyCar racing at one of the best places on earth, the Temple of Speed at Monza. Getting ready to take the green flag, Stephen Larkin.
Pace car pulling off on the pit road. Franzoni on the throttle immediately. Pinero tries to go with him. Green flag flies. We are racing in Lombardy. Franzoni with a massive jump there. Pinero side by side with Mara. Miranda looking to the inside once more. Again, going into turn number 1. Let's see what happens there. Oh, Cabral around the outside. He'll stick it on the inside there. Oh, was that? That's Miranda getting shuffled there behind him. Cabral losing momentum there. Here comes Matthew Bell trying to make the move as well. But this battle up here is not over at all. Miranda trying to stay up there with Cabral as we're dragging our way into the Rugia. The second chicane, there's a car slow there off to the side. That's Jack Mara on the outside of the front row. Big problems for the number 1 machine. Oh, big wreck in front of him. Massive wreck, actually. Multiple cars involved, trying to pick out who it is. I see Alexander Khan is one of them. The 13 as well. Shane Abbey is in it. Everyone trying to recover there. And Alexander Aziz has suspension damage on that DHL scheme machine. Oh my goodness. Monza once again showing its colors. It's a track where where a lot of people are aggressive, and that can be to your detriment. But Franzoni, well clear of all of that, gets himself out to a comfortable lead as everyone cycles through. Gonzalo Romero, the big mover on all that, started 6th. He's now up to 2nd, trying to run down the leader.
Now, shout out to Blake Sasser. He's up 11 spots from where he started already, and we're at the end of lap 1. So keep eyes on him. He is the fastest mover at the moment, but here is a battle for the lead. It's Franzoni, Romero, Pinero, Miranda, and Bell. That is your top 5 as we are coming through before we get to the second pane here, just under the bridge, going under the oval there.
Romero, of course, on the red soft compound tires. He's going to be savoring the amount of grip as he's trying to get up all over the gearbox of Franzoni. Oh, and Franzoni pushed out wide there. That was definitely an off track there. Out through the Lesmos and down the back straightaway, coming towards the Ascari chicane. Will Romero make the move there? Will he be on the button trying to make something happen? Yes, he is. He is on the button trying to make this move work. Dives down to the inside, has a look. Not quite there yet. Romero has to back off there. He's got to make this work soon, though, because pretty soon those tires are going to be something he'll want to get rid of, I would wager. They're a softer compound there. They're faster in these early laps, but they'll be fading later on.
Ooh.
Franzoni trying to regain the line there. Romero still trying to stick his nose in here. And now we come down towards the Recte Filio. This is the chicane we mentioned.
There was not a block there, but that was a very defensive move there for Franzoni. As we're getting ready to come down into the chicane. Let's see, they're side by side.
Romero side by side clears him for the moment.
Nope,
he overshoots.
But he's going to have to get that position up, and that's probably going to open the door for Pinero to bypass as well. Now he's going to try to keep it. He has a certain amount of time he has to give that up, but if he doesn't, he's going to get black flag. But the thing is, he doesn't want to give up the second position to Pinero.
Very much so. Losing that one spot is one thing, and there goes Franzoni back to the lead there. Now, will he have to give it up? It looks like he's moved over. He has moved over a little bit there. Oh, it's actually because he's trying to fight back. I think he's cleared the penalty already.
Yeah.
Romero being hyper-aggressive once more. He's certainly not giving up this fight in the slightest. And all of this, I'm seeing Pinero and Miranda behind them. They're licking their chops, seeing what could possibly come out of all of this. But Franzoni, once again, running a bit of a defensive line down the middle of the straight, then moving back to retake the line when he realizes that Romero is not quite there. It's not really a block, though, in many regards, but it may be a bit, maybe something that Romero doesn't entirely like. but he's looking to the inside now, into the
He's got that
parabolica, the final
position.
corner there, and this time, Romero looks like, yes, he will. He will take the lead, and he will lead at the end of lap number 3 out of 20 at Monza. But Franzoni, once again, staying with them, tucks out of the slipstream. He'll be trying to work around the outside at the start of the chicane. No, he doesn't. He actually clears it well before that. Pinero,
Doesn't know where to
all
go.
over the place, almost puts it in the grass.
Oh,
And
this time,
Franzoni's off as
Franzoni
well.
has to cut through the chicane. And that's going to open the door for Miranda to probably get by him. Yep, that's true. And then also Bell might get by him. Bell there in that Aston Martin liveried IndyCar.
Yeah, I think he will have to give up that spot to that beautiful British racing green machine, number 15, Matthew Bell, up to 4th position, started 8th. A very good showing so far for the Canadian, but a terrible moment there for our pole sitter, Franzoni. He has got to be fuming at all of this. But Gonzalo Romero trying to make the most out of these red tires while he can, and then come into the pits when the crossover starts to happen and put on the blacks. That seems to be his game plan for this race.
Yeah, this is normally I would say on a long Grand Prix, I mean, just, hey, hit your marks, continue on. You probably get those spots back if you truly are faster. But, man, these Indy Fix races are like mini sprints, only 20 laps. That's not a lot of time here, even though the size of this course is pretty big. That is not a lot of time here. So time is ticking down. We're already a fifth of the way through this thing.
Not very long at all, and for comparison's sake, the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza, that's 53 laps, more than 2.5 times the distance of this race. And even then, that race can go by very, very quickly because of the high average speed here. You're trying to cover 300 kilometers in that amount of time, in as little amount of time as possible. But here, this is going to be very much a sprint race for these guys here. So Franzoni has got to be fuming right now. And now he's got Joao Ritter hounding his gearbox right now.
And I can see that in chat, we got Yukos College Racing joining us, and we got their drivers. Actually, I got two. One was our pole sitter, who was unfortunately, Jack Mara kind of marred back, way back in the pack there. There he is.
Oh, Franzoni's off. Franzoni is off coming out of the Rugia. He's lost 3 positions after that. Ritter, Cabral, and Gomez have all gotten around him. So things seem to be falling down the tubes, it would seem, for Rodrigo Franzoni so far.
Yeah, just got to keep your composure. Of course, Bruno Miranda, the other driver in that stable right there. There he is, P3 right behind Pinero and Romero.
And of course, Pinero and Miranda. As I mentioned before, they're running the blacks there as Miranda.
Do a little off-roading there.
Yeah, a little bit of off-roading indeed. They're coming out of the Ascari chicane. I'm sure he doesn't want to repeat that again, but both of these guys are running on the blacks. And right now, as I'm seeing, Pinero is getting closer and closer and closer to the rear end of that number 11 of Romero for the race lead. I would imagine at this point, Romero has got to be thinking of coming in relatively soon to get on the black tires, as now Pinero makes a move for the lead.
Yeah, Pinero wants to get around Romero. Ooh, we're going to have a little banging here.
Pit there, Romero's off. He will have to give up that spot.
Not going to like it.
Both of them.
I think he crowded him a little bit, but hey, that's part of the game.
It's very easy to crowd someone out there, I will say. Pinero and Pinero being aggressive on the attack, Romero being aggressive on defense, but Romero will have to slow down enough to give up the lead to that number 2. And now Miranda, I believe Romero will have cleared the penalty at this point. A lot of the times what they do, it doesn't look like they slow down, but the slow momentum helps, but also in that they tend to short shift to make themselves slower on the straights to give up that time already. And Romero does not seem to be happy as he's looking to make a move once more for the lead. Miranda, contact with them! They're both out of it! Pinero and Miranda into the grass at Ascari! Romero holds on to the lead, but 2 of the front runners have collided! They're both trying to recover right now. Pinero and Miranda both getting out of the kitty litter there, but that has just ruined their race.
Well, the pit window is open. If they can get in and get repaired, that is not going to be repaired at a pit stop right there. That is a damaged left front corner. Hopefully he can make it through the parabolica there and not impede anyone else behind him. There is Bruno Miranda right there. He might have himself a damaged nose. He's probably going to, let's see if he stays out here. He's going to go ahead and stay out.
Just limping it back. And Miranda has actually regained speed. He is still going, but I would bet that he is nursing a damaged race car for sure. That car is not going to be driving the way it came out of the Dallara factory, which, by the way, even though it is an Italian maker, they make these cars in Indianapolis.
Yep, right there, just around the corner from the speedway itself. So now we have a new set of challengers that all of a sudden have put their way onto the scene here. Matthew Bell, who a second ago was P4, is now P2. Joao Ritter was just entered the top 5. Now he is on the bottom step of the podium at the moment for a P3. He is in this battle. Cesar Cabral, now P4. Pedro Gomes in P5. Franzoni, he's recovered a little bit to 6th. Lake Sasser 7th. Palladino 8th. Alvarez 9th. And Gerardo 10th. That rounds out your top 10 at the moment. Your biggest gainers so far is Sasser with 16 spots. Let's get a camera on him in the Interstate Batteries livery. More of a NASCAR throwback, but they did have an Interstate Batteries sponsored IndyCar back in the mid-90s. So that that did exist, but he's probably, this is more of a homage probably to that that NASCAR livery there. But he's up 16 spots. A great day for him to start. All he needs to do is kind of get her to the finish and keep that finish or better. And he's looking at a nice I-rating payday. Right now, your push-to-pass situation, Romero with 6, Bell with 10. Bell has his full complement at the moment.
Bell, meanwhile, look at him right now. He's putting the pressure on him as we have a lap car in front of these guys here, trying to pick out who that is. But as they both make it by there, Romero gets on the grass a little bit, going through Curva Grande, and now, and that lead to the 15 of Matthew Bell. Started 8th, as we mentioned before, and now leading the race. Very, very well done tonight so far for that number 15.
Yeah, that livery's not going to see the lead in any other series, so I'm glad to seeing it here.
As much as I hate to say it, that is probably true, sadly, for this season with Aston Martin livery cars in Formula One particularly. But now, once more, Romero is not giving up this fight. He has been utterly ruthless tonight, wanting to make everything possible work. There is, a little bit wide there at the entry there, but now look who's joined this battle. Joao Ritter in the 17, Cesar Cabral and Pedro Gomez. This battle will not diminish in the slightest even after that lead change, as Ritter looks to the inside. Not quite enough.
Top 6 are all right there. We got a bit of a, well, if this was Formula One and the Formula One game, this would be a bit of a DRS train. But right now, we're a bit of a, probably just in a big draft train that's using the push to pass. Hitting pit road is Gonzalo Romero here at lap 9. He's going to separate this run right into 2 halves. This is going to be his one and only pit stop for the race as we watch him hit his spot there on pit road. A better camera angle on that. There he is. He is down and away.
Down and away.
And he is on, I believe he should be on the prime tire now.
Yep. And I believe at this, with the new rule set they have here, you are required to change compounds at some point in the race. He has switched over to the hard compound black tires. So he may not have the pace right here and now, but he'll have that pace later on in the going as right now the likes of Matt Bell and Joao Ritter, they will be experiencing the opposite. They will be running these tires out as long as they can. Fuel window, from what I saw in testing, was about 15 laps thereabouts. You're getting about 3 miles per gallon out of these things, more than a gallon a lap. So these guys are going to run these blacks as long as they believe they can hang on to them. Whoa, as Cabral runs way wide there at the exit of Ascari once more. I'm sure that was that was a riveting experience there, I would wager.
Especially for the car behind him is that was going to have to see that. And that is right behind him. That is Pinero. Pinero is a lap down, though, but he is at the tail end of this group right here. This is not a battle for position. This is a battle for track position at the moment. And
as I mentioned, as I was in the middle of there, these guys are 15 is about the window. These guys will want to go for as long as they feel like the tires are holding up. Last time by, Matt Bell was running a 1:34.3, Ritter with a 34.0, Gomez with a 33.8. These guys running very quick times right now, but I'm keeping an eye on Gonzalo Romero on his first lap out of the pits. But now he's actually behind Bruno Miranda, who also pitted early with him.
Romero with the purple lap, a 1:32.524. Of course, that was set before his incident there, but that is the purple lap currently at the time, a 1:32.54.
Meanwhile, this lead battle, I see Ritter.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought something happened to Franzoni, but I think he's having some lag issues. Disappeared and came right back in. But Franzoni's still alive here in P5s. Go ahead.
Still hanging on to that top 5 spot right now. Of course, we're in the middle of the cycle. But Ritter, I'm hearing, Palladino is off in the chicane, in the Ascari chicane. Gathers it back up there. I heard him on the radio, not quite happy. And it looks like it was with the number 9 machine of Emilio Garrido, I should say. And it looks like a bit of a netcode incident there. But now is Bell on the pit road. Joao Ritter cycles to the lead. But this little draft train here seems to be keeping a lot of guys close together. And this lead battle, it's usually a good opportunity for these guys to break away from any competition around them, especially on a pit stop cycle. But how much are they going to want to go for track position, though? That seems to be the big question, as one that Romero seemed to answer for us with his strategy. Just go for it.
Well, that is the one stop and done for Matthew Bell. He is on alternate tires as he joins here behind Gonzalo Romero. So Gonzalo Romero jumps him. There's a car off there just out of the first chicane. Romero jumps Bell in the pit cycle, and so when these guys all stop, we might have a new leader.
Could very well, and it could come from the most unlikely of places here. Of course, even in Formula One, especially in the likes of the 1960s, Monza was always known for incredibly close finishes, and it held the record for the closest finish in Formula One history until 1971 was a really close finish, and I believe whichever one that was, it held on for a long time until Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell at the Spanish Grand Prix in 1986, which was literally a photo finish. And we may well get one here tonight. Ritter and Gomez, still the last ones out on the track there as Cabral makes his way on the pit road.
Sorry about that. He's going to try. He was looking to take a look on the inside there to poke the nose in there. Let Ritter know that he was there. Pedro wisely backed out of it, but he's definitely letting Zhao know that he is interested in getting this pass, even though we're probably all looking at pit stops here within the next 5 laps or so.
Very much so. We're working lap number 12. 15 seems to be one of the hard limits here unless you really, really fuel save. But the question I have is whether that's worth it. More often than not, I think with a race like this, I would say no, it's not. As Gomez way out wide there, going through the first of the Lesmos, gathers it up, but that is definitely an off track there. And the off tracks in that particular section are absolutely ruthless. The green AstroTurf there, which normally you would think that is okay, you can maybe run out there and not worry about a penalty. No, you cannot go out there. You used to be able to, but no, you're not. That's an off track.
Yeah, and they're hitting these curbs hard. You got to watch these sleeping policemen, man. You saw this weekend what they did to Jimmy Johnson at Long Beach. So when these cars hit those bumps, there's not a lot of clearance there. It will send them straight ahead, and there's no steering control there. So careful hitting those bumps, but right now we got a 2-car breakaway between Ritter and Pedro Gomes. Right back there's Rodrigo Franzoni. Right behind him is P4 there in the in that Menards car, which I believe that is what Nelson Piquet drove when he attempted his one and only Indianapolis 500. That is Gerardo in P4. Julio Alvarez for position right behind him in P5 as they're going through the first chicane. And the first car that's already pitted is Romero. There he is. He's now hitting the chicane right now. And his nemesis that is going to dog him for the remainder of the race probably is Matthew Bell. We shall see, though. These guys that are running longer, they're going to have a shorter fill, if no fill at all. Well, they're going to have a short fill, but will they be able to, that shorter fill, be able to get them out in front of these two? We'll see.
And one thing I'm noticing, looking at that battle between Romero and his nemesis, Matthew Bell. Romero last time by was a 133 even. Matt Bell, a 132.4 for his best lap of the show. Bell is absolutely on the charge as we expected there. Romero's not going to be too long before he sees that Aston Martin livery machine in his rearview mirror again.
Here's a
and he's
pass
probably
for the
thinking,
lead.
oh, geez, you again.
Pedro Gomes took a look to the inside right there in the Parabolica and wasn't able to pull it off. Is now tucked back in behind Gal Ritter as they're coming down the main street here. I want to flip the camera real quick back to P15. There it is. And Kyle Boss, he currently holds the purple lap of a 132.160. He is currently back in P15 at the moment, but he has the purple lap. But we know that he is definitely moving. He just doesn't have a lot of positions in front of him to attack, though.
Sadly true there, of course. You could gain a few on pit stop cycle there, but Kyle Boss putting in laps with not many other drivers to see it, but at least we see it and we're acknowledging you for it. Well done there, Kyle. But keeping an eye still on this lead battle, Ritter and Gomes, as Gomes has actually taken over the race lead. And both of them using that AstroTurf there in the first of the Lesmos. Ritter trying to stay with him here. I believe Gomes was having a better car underneath him for a good little while there. So we'll see who blinks first. Will they come in this lap, or will it be one more? Or will someone try to do the opposite of what the other does?
I don't know. I don't know if maybe Gomes was able to maybe conserve another lap riding behind Ritter that long. I mean, he was definitely within drafting range, and these long straights here, you could definitely aid a benefit from the draft. Maybe he get another lap out of this. We shall see. We're coming to the start-finish area, pit road. Nobody's ducking off, so they are going to go yet another lap.
One more time around. Pedro Gomes is your race leader. Ritter, though, on the comeback. Look at him looking onto the outside there for the first chicane. Gomes deep on the brakes there.
Oh, and he has to
too
shoot
deep
through.
it turns out. Has to go through the bollards there. And slow down there as Ritter goes zooming by him. Not what Gomes wanted to see in the slightest there, but that's the fine line you run in that chicane. You can make a diving pass there, but you have to be so certain of the amount of grip you have and how much braking you put into it. And Gomes, unfortunately, missed the mark there.
Got two cars are showing out right now. Jack Mara, who started off at the front of the field, but unfortunately had a incident there on the first lap there with the Juncos eSports team. He is going in 25th and out. Zachary Flaum, who started shotgun in the field, looks like he just completed one lap and parked it. He is 26th. Right now there are still 24 cars running, and we have 18 of them on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap is Mara's teammate there, Bruno Miranda, as he is the last car there.
Still waiting to see. I believe this will be the lap where a lot of them will make the move onto pit road. Ritter, yep, he's looking to be coming in now. He is. Gomes coming in as well. Oh, really deep on the brakes there. Franzoni in as well. So the top three coming in, and Garado is looking to come in as well. Yes, he is. And Alvarez. So the last of the guys who stayed out the longest are coming in, and here comes Gonzalo Romero up the final corner. And once again, the battle will be between Romero and Matt Bell, but Bell has a few lap cars in front of him right now. That is going to be a major headache for him. As Ritter comes out right behind Matt Bell. And one other point here I'd like to note is that will it come to a point that the crossover will happen once again, and it will be Bell on the back foot to the guys on the black tires, because he came in a bit earlier than I would have thought for someone starting on the harder compound.
Right. Right, and actually Cabral got the jump on Bell in that exchange. He is now P2 with Bell down P3. Joao Ritter, the guys that we were just watching for the better part of the last 5 or so laps, Ritter, Gomez, Frenzoni, Gerardo Alvarez, all those guys are back in. They're good to go, but they're back in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, right in that area.
And definitely going to be keeping an eye on Cesar Cabral. Of the guys we mentioned before, now he's jumped Matt Bell and up to P2, and he is on reds, fresh reds on this run. Ritter's trying to work his way through lap traffic. Meanwhile, he's already jumped Bell, but Gonzalo Romero is on blacks. He is going to be on a hard compound tire. We'll keep an eye on the differences in lap times right now. As we come up to the line, it's Gonzalo Romero, and the gap is 2.3 seconds.
Everybody on push to pass on the front straight.
Ooh. Trying to see who that was.
Blake Sasser now up to 7. 16 spots gained.
Oh, and just as you say, it overshoots the corner, and that's Garrido all over his rear wing. Sasser having to defend from that Menards entry he's running on reds. Sasser on the blacks there, so we'll see if Garrido has all the grip he needs to get by him. Sasser, your biggest mover, started 23rd, now up to 7th, but will he hold on to that, or will he be relegated to P8? Garrido all over him, has a look into the second of the Lesmos. No, not quite yet. His best chance is right here, though. Down the straightaway. Doesn't have DRS, of course, as he passes the board there, but he'll definitely be looking on the button there as he looks to the inside into the Ascari chicane. And will he clear him yet? Yes, he does. Move Garrido up one more spot there. Sasser down to P8. Not to take away from his accomplishments so far, though. Sasser has had a spectacular performance here tonight.
Yeah, Roberto Guerrero drove the Interstate Batteries IndyCar back in '94. When Pagan Racing was only a Indy-only team. Of course, they were one of the original stalwarts when the IRL formed, but he raced for Pagan Racing.
Ritter. Oh, Bell and Ritter collide! Ritter is around. Bell keeps going, but I think he's got a damaged front wing. Yes, he does. They were battling hard right there for P3. Ritter is in the end is the recipient of all the bad luck there. Ritter.
Gomes was Gomes also was here. We're going to replay it here, but Gomes was also at a bit of a disadvantage because he had to basically stop.
He was there, but he has gotten back by Frenzoni. And looking at the incident right now, Ritter had gotten by Bell. Bell trying to make the comeback there, and Ritter just overcooks turn number 1. And unfortunately for Bell, doesn't quite realize it in time. Not much more he could have done in that instance.
Pedro Gomes with the purple lap of 131.796. Of course, he's doing that on the alternate tires with light tanks in most ideal situations. So he is now the purple lap 131.79.
Of course, though, Gomes, that great lap was kind of ruined on the very next lap by having to avoid that incident. But as we're working 2 laps to go, it's Gonzalo Romero across the line. Cesar Cabral in P2. The gap has remained steady between the 2 leaders. It's about 2.6 seconds. Romero seems to have made his aggressive strategy early on work very well, and he's put out consistent lap times on the blacks there. Little traffic in the way and to get in the way of him, and that seems to have worked to his benefit right now. And also another driver, as we mentioned before, we came on talking about Blake Sasser, who's been making moves. Another one who started towards the back and is actually knocking on the door of a top 10, starting from the back of the grid, is our old friend Dakota DeMeg. He's pressuring Pedro Palladino right now for 10th spot.
Let's get the camera on Dakota. Got 2 Dakotas in this race.
That's true, we
and,
do.
Right behind Dakota is his team owner and the race first boss man, Matt Houston. And if Matt catches him, that's a battle for position.
I definitely will. And Houston put in a 33-4 last time. DeMay with a 35-3. This battle seems to be slowing them up a fair bit as Gonzalo Romero comes out of the Parabolica to take the white flag. 3.6 more miles to go. And Romero has played this race very, very well indeed. He's got the lap car of Adriano Pinero, who unfortunately was caught up in that incident with Bruno Miranda earlier on. But Romero, he may have looked very aggressive before, but that was all part of the plan, it would seem. Or I guess if you're Fernando Alonso, it would be El Plan. And El Plan has worked to perfection for Gonzalo Romero tonight.
If it was German, it'd be their plan.
And speaking of that battle we mentioned before, Dakota DeMay has gotten by Palladino. Can he hold up Palladino enough so Matt Houston can catch him? Houston with a 33-1, trying to catch up to Palladino with a 35-6.
That's one of the fastest laps on the racetrack at the moment. Yeah, I think that's the fastest lap on the racetrack. And the 130, that Houston of 133 flat.
But meanwhile, through the Ascati chicane for the final time, Gonzalo Romero down the straight. And looks like Pinero will be letting him go here as we approach the Parabolica for the last time. Gonzalo Romero, a race that could have gone in multiple directions. It goes the way of the number 11 here tonight. Gonzalo Romero off the final corner. He takes the win at Autodromo di Monza. Forza Gonzalo Romero.
Here's our Cabal P2. Pedro Gomes P3. Franzoni, not the finish he wants, but still a top 5. Outritter there, 5th spot. Roberto moving in at 6th there. Blake Sasser, great run, up 16 spots there at the end. Julio Alvarez. Matthew Bell recovers a little bit to finish 9th. And Dakota DeMay, here he comes.
In fact, Bell, good job recovering that car to finish in the top 10, though. But I'm sure given the performance he had tonight, that is going to be a gut punch to him. And Romero turning a few donuts in the runoff area. You can always find some place to do donuts, and then Monza's no exception.
No, you just missed Matt torpedoing Dakota the race. He probably doesn't know I caught it on stream.
Oof. Sadly, we did. But Gonzalo Romero turning donuts. The runoff area at the Rugia.
So,
and one thing I want to keep an eye on,
and
is the incident count for a lot of these drivers. Because I'm sure Gary can attest to a lot of our fellow drivers saying that Spa-Francorchamps, before they made a lot of changes to the runoff areas, was known for a lot of off-tracks. And now Circuit of the Americas kind of has that mantle for itself. If one were to have a look at the number of incidents a lot of these guys have, there is not a single driver in this race that has had less than 4 incident points. That is just showing how aggressive this race was and how much these drivers were going for it.
Keep in mind that was 4 incidents in 1 lap for that particular driver. But your winner here, Gonzalo Romero, he had 8. P2 had 8. P3 had 11. P4 had 7. P5 had 15. The highest that I see in here is 19, and that's Aldo Villamil. But I'm not sure what the incident limit is, but the first is a drive-through, and then next is typically a DQ, and I don't think anybody reached that level. But Pedro Gomes with the purple lap of the session, 131.796. So he can go home with the purple lap and P3 on the bottom step of the podium there. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at today's final standings. Are up on, and we'll go over today's starting lineup, or excuse me, results. We've already your Monday night Indy fixed here at Monza is Gonzalo Romero with a really, really good, solid race strategy. Raced them hard early on, got the early pit stop, managed to get the over on everybody. He finishes first. Cesar Cabral, a very consistent day, manages to finish his second. Pedro Gomes with the fast lap of the day on the bottom step of the podium, finishing third. Franzoni and Ritter round out the top 5. Your top 10 is Guerrero, Sasser, Alvarez, Bell, and DeMay. Your top 15 would be Palladino, Houston, Boss, Flanagan, and Walter. You have quite a few in this race. Bear with us. Zielinski, 16th, Miranda, 17th, Pinero, 18th, Abbey, 19th, and Barnett, 20th. And then the remainder of the field, Aziz, Villamil, States, Ragon, Mera, and Flaum round out the 26 car field that took the green flag today. One of our more packed fields so far of the season.
Indeed, and 26 cars at Monza is always a fun time. Tonight really showed it.
Anybody in the... Well, we got Jow Ritter in there. He finished 5th. We'll go ahead and give Jow a little bit of time, and then we got to get going because this is another Lionheart Speedway night for me. So we'll get Jow in here and have him talk about his P5 and the early battles that he had there with Gomes, Franzoni, and Cabral. Hey, Jow, we'll go ahead and bring you up, man. We finished the top 5. We see that you had quite a, in fact, everybody really in that first 5 or 6 spots were, for the most part, in that first stint, wheel to wheel to wheel. How intense was that first stint racing those guys?
Hello, guys. First stint was very difficult because with the hard tires, you need to manage. I tried to manage 50 laps. I was thinking that I need to start with the same tire that I did the quali, but I don't know. But this season I race changed. But it was very nice to race side by side with Cesar, Pedro, a lot of guys. The first stint, the second stint, I lost the brake in the turn 1, and the Matthew hit me, and after I got past him again.
Steven?
So yeah, unfortunately that incident really threw a wrench into making things a little bit better there. But would you say that one thing I really was noticing quite a bit was the strategies seem to be all up in the air, but there's a lot of things that could possibly work. Do you think? And what do you think was like one of the best calls you could have made there? And with the racing obviously this close, a lot of things were possible. So, would you think that it didn't really matter where you qualified as long as you had the strategy that worked in your favor and you're able to execute? I think you think that you would have been able to win this race, perhaps.
Yes, if I did the qualify with the red tires, I think that I could be started more in front. And but I think that I lost a lot of time to fight. if he, I didn't fight so much, maybe my strategy could be worked. But I still think that the best strategy is 10, 10 with the black tires, the both teams.
Yeah, and of course with the new rules, you're actually have to change compounds at some point. But yeah, it really seemed like the black tire would be preferred in the long run there. And um I just had the question on the tip of my tongue. But and but one thing I'm rather curious about is how the setup itself was feeling, because I turned a few laps before everyone got started here. Wasn't quite to my liking. It felt a bit inconsistent on the brakes. What would you say the set was feeling tonight?
Yeah, it's very difficult to look the right point to brake, because sometimes I try to brake in the 100 meters, and sometimes it's so too early, sometimes too I forgot the word, sorry. But yeah, I practiced a lot of before this race, and enjoy a lot of, but the step is real difficult, really difficult to look the full power, the maximum.
Well, congratulations on the top five. Looks like we got Cabral, and we might have
We have Romero in there too.
Romero in there too. So we got some other interviews we need to do. We want to thank you for sticking around and being a part of the broadcast. Congratulations on your P5. Anybody you would like to say hi to or shout out to before we let you go?
I'd like to thank you to broadcast your race, my our race, and to say hello to Eric Trent, is my teammate in the full time by Tiki. And that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Jow. We'll catch you hopefully next week or in a future broadcast.
See you.
All right, let's go ahead and bring up Cesar Cabral, and I'll make sure this is him. I believe it is here. Cesar, is that you, sir?
Hey, that's me. What's
right.
up?
All right. Congratulations on the P2. Did you have anything for Romero at all? Did you think you were going to be able to get him?
Oh my gosh, I did everything that I could. I really pushed harder, but I was saying to him that he did a fantastic job, thinking about strategy, because when he stopped way early, I thought like, well, I have a chance to do something, and I did indeed. But when it got close, like 1.5 seconds, my tires started to lose a lot of pressure. So when I reduced, I started to have a draft. So I had like, oh my god, what I have to do there? Because I was braking, it was really difficult to brake in a second chicane. So I think like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose the car. So I decided like I would bring the car home and let's see what I can do. I was like, ding 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 ding, why? Like let's think, let's keep doing. And I was like, oh my god, I'm in front of so many good guys like John Heater, Adriano Pinheiro. It was amazing. We had not much time to train it, so it was a really big challenge. It will be a really nice week.
Steven?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I've actually been looking forward to this week myself, not just for the broadcast, but for me to actually drive in it. But um, but really, I found this race was one that could go in any which direction, not just in terms of who's going to be up front, but also strategy wise. And would you say that? What would you say was like what kept you in the game, and what really was keeping you in the fight there, especially against Gonzalo in the end there? Because I know there was a few incidents there, and a lot of guys were being very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, actually, yeah, that was my point. I was thinking, I was in that front field, and I was thought like, if I stay there, I could save a lot of fuel, and I did. I save a lot of fuel. But and the second point, I was checking my time. I was running 24.5. So I thought like this, we start to lose and kill time. So and then I was trying to do the different strategy. So if the heater and Pedro stop it, then I will not. If they both pass by in that lap, so I do it. So that's how I thought about to do the undercut in between both, because it Monza looks like easy to overtake, but it's definitely one of those most hard tracks to overtake, because we really have to brake late. And thanks God, dude, don't fight with me, otherwise both will lose a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
that is what I try to avoid the confront all the time, fighting all the time. So because I knew that it's important to not lose time and waste time in battles that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and one thing.
Go ahead, Steven. Follow up.
But yeah, like one thing I've noticed, and I kind of draw the comparison. Of course, it could possibly work in Indy cars, but also other open wheelers, cars like the Indy Pro 2000. When you have a track like Monza, you can keep things really close together.
Mhm.
So more often than not, a lot of them would want to. My game plan would be to stick with the fast guys and try and break away from everyone else while they're fighting. But you were in the midst of the fighting, and pretty much every one of the leaders was fighting. I'm guessing that was kind of frustrating to a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Try to avoid to try to pass, because I had pace to pass both, but even with push, and so I was thinking it's unnecessary fight. So that was the point. But actually, when the tires are gone after like couple laps, the
Mm-hmm.
Lesmo turns becomes a really trick turns to
Mm-hmm.
do, because if because they are medium fast turns, and you need to have speed in the second Lesmo, otherwise you lose the the long straight and the back straight. So then you have to think like, if I stay so close, I will not be able to fight in the Ascari and even in the Parabolica. So that's the point. I have to like do a chess game.
All
It
right.
Mind
Well, it
game.
sounds like
very much
that
was a chess
definitely you
game.
were definitely were thinking ahead, not just the next turn, but it sounds like you were thinking the next 3 turns ahead. But congratulations on the podium. You also had the fastest lap, so congratulations on
Wow.
that. Yeah, you had the purple lap, so congrats on that. It doesn't pay anything, but it's nice to have, nevertheless, right? So,
Yeah, good. Can I say our support of our team, because we have several
absolutely.
supports? It's okay.
Do all your shout outs, and anybody you want to say hi to, the microphone's yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So first, I would like to say thank you for everyone that all support, to John Silva and Pedro. They were with me here and the broadcast, giving some hints, and also our sponsors, so Hill Drive Tech Simulator, Sensa, VRE Simulators, Motorbull, Strike Brazil, Lindóia Autopeças, Comida do Dia, and for NASCARs we use Elite Performance Industry setups. So that's it. Thanks so much for the time, and it was a really pleasure participate from this broadcast, guys. I
Hey,
hope
no
I can do
problem.
this next time.
Thanks for being a part of the race, and hopefully we'll see you in a future one. But congratulations on the P3, well earned, and go enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I
Bye-bye.
will sleep because it's 3 a.m. here.
Well, get your rest.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You earned it.
All right, let's bring up Gonzalo. Hey, Gonzalo, sorry about the wait, but we had an excited third place finisher, but I am sure that you're just as excited. Tell us about your race, especially the first stint and getting the advantage after your first pit stop.
Hi everybody. I don't talk. I don't speak very good English, but
Do your best. Do your best.
Okay, I'm making my best. My strategy was I started with this soft tires. I tried to push it 5 laps, and I go to pit stop in the lap 15. But I see the another guy crashing, and I think so I can stay maybe 1-2 laps more. When the another guy coming to pass me, I go immediately
Yep.
to the pit stop to change the tires, because the soft tires is 5 laps and it's going down. I don't like these tires. It's good for qualifying, but I don't understand the people. It's very faster with the hard tires, because I was impressive in the qualifying. the people make better lap with the hardest tire. With the hardest tires, was for me very confused.
I don't know how they managed to get a good lap out of those. I guess it just comes down to everyone's a little bit different.
Yeah, I will training to make the lap with the hard tires the next time, because the hard tires is the best. Normally is the best strategy, but when the people coming with the soft tires, the first 5 laps is very fast. I am faster with the soft tires, but the hard tires, okay, good. I can try to driving faster, but I make it too much mistakes.
Steven, you got any questions?
Yeah, and speaking of mistakes, we obviously saw one behind you with Pinero and Bruno Miranda. And there was a lot of aggressive moves out there. I mean, I can count you as one of them. Of course, you made it work very well for yourself. But would you say that it was a little bit too more dicey than what you expected it to be? It was not quite the draft train that a lot of us expected. It was just a dogfight for much of the race.
I think, Stefan, I think so. The Pinero break too late in the first corner. He make me. I take the. I don't take the corner, and I have the slow down. Yep. I think so. Pinero lets me by in the another street, but the another coming too fast and don't break in the same place. I think so. He crashed, and I think so. It was not my fault. I don't know. I will show the replay later, but. For me, it was very good. Another people crashing because there was the for me, Pinero is the faster from all. He was out in the race, and for me, it was very good.
Yeah. Some people say it's better to be lucky than good, but in my estimation, you had both. In my estimation, you had both tonight. Very well done.
Yeah. I don't train it today. I drive in my first lap. 40 minutes before the race. Oh. I train in only qualifying, not the longest time.
Yeah. It's honestly something that I plan on racing this week myself, so it's something I'm going to be working on there, trying to figure out how the heck you made how people made 31s work.
Okay, I can give you one tip. I drive in 6-1 RB.
There you go.
6 in the front and one in the back, because it's very good when the tires is going down. The 2 right corners in the middle from the sector, you can push in the gas and the car sliding and go fast in the corner.
Interesting. And as I say that, I'm preparing to try that out.
So a free piece of advice from tonight's winner. Another win for the Nikkei Racing team. So go ahead and say hi and shout out to anybody you like to for your victory. You earned it.
Yeah, thank you for all teams. Make 2 guys stay here in the night and make a spotter for me and help me for the strategy. For all and for Neki, don't come driving on Pablo. Don't come driving this week because he's not in the home. It's with the father. Thank you all on my mother showing. I think so. My mother showing now. That's I win in the race. He's happy, and I am happy, and we all happy.
Yes.
Well, congratulations, and hopefully we will see you at one of the future fixed events next week. We're going to Twin Ring Motegi, so maybe we'll see you there. But congratulations, and thanks for hopping on and being part of the broadcast.
Thank you very much, and have a good day.
All right, have a good night. All right. Stephen, quickly, your thoughts, and then your thoughts about moving on to Twin Ring Motegi next week.
Well, we're very much in the international leg of the season, and Monza, of course, did not disappoint in the slightest. One of the reasons I personally think this track has remained as long as it has, not only because, of course, the track's been around. This year is Monza's 100th anniversary since its opening in 1922. And in that 100 years, both in real world and in the virtual world, Monza rarely disappoints. And the overall, not just the fast speeds, but the ability of it to facilitate great racing. Not only have we seen it in real life, we have seen it on full display tonight. Monza, in my estimation, one of the best choices, I think, for a road course in IndyCar competition. And I think you can see why tonight.
All right. And your thoughts on Motegi?
But moving on to Twin Ring Motegi, of course, Motegi it's one of those unique 1.5-mile tracks. It's not like the cookie cutters we've seen earlier on the season and throughout the past. Is very, very different. You kind of drive it like a track like Darlington in many ways, except you're not running up against the wall the whole time. But Motegi is a challenge in of itself. It's going to be a driver's track for certain. And for the international leg of the season, I think Monza and Motegi are really great places to test drivers' mettle abroad. And as much as I'd love to see Motegi return to the IndyCar calendar in real life, I don't know if we're going to get that anymore. But at the very least, we'll always have the virtual Motegi, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
All right. That will do it for tonight. Let's get on out of here. I want to thank all those drivers that stopped into the interview room and wanted to say hi to everybody and tell us about their race. We appreciate that. Of course, anybody can join the Race First Discord, and next week you're part of the fixed top split podium. Hop on in. So let's get on out of here. So that's it tonight. Once again, your podium from the Temple of Speed is Gonzalo Romero with a great win, Cesar Cabral, and Pedro Gomes with a great P3 there with the purple lap to boot. Join Steven and myself again next week for Race First coverage of round 6 of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split of Season 222, coming to you from the Oval at Twin Ring Motegi. Coverage begins at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 8:15 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at youtube.com/racefirst. Hey, we love bringing these races to you, but they're not easy and require time and money to produce. Because of your generosity and donations, we have been able to bring you commercial-free coverage of the last 2 fixed Indy seasons. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar, as we do, and have enjoyed our coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split, please take the time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description. And donate to our Season 222 Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split broadcast fund. We do realize times are tough, so any contribution is greatly appreciated. We thank you for watching and making us a part of your Monday evening each and every week. Hey, now you know the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support Race First with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. Just like this right here. Boom. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out more Race First iRacing programming, just like this right here. That includes our continuing coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series Friday Top Split, and this summer the return of the Shaper IndyCar Series and the Race First Formula Indy Series, all coming up later this summer. So keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge on all of iRacing. Race First, we know what Indy means. So for business inquiries and to learn more about Race First and what we do, visit racefirst.com or follow us on Twitter. Here are all of our handles that you can follow us right there. There's Race First, there's me, there is Stevens, and you can follow all of us on Twitter right there with our handles. If you want to check out more Race First and what we do, visit racefirst.com. So for Stephen Larkamp and everyone at Race First, I'm Gary Gonzalez saying to all, good night, thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless. And please come home safe. Thanks again, everyone. Catch us next week at Motegi for the next race of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split. Good night.